you know, I mean, there's going to be a giant sucking sound of university jobs going away and universities closing when and if this passes. Because, if you think about like taxing endowments and you're capping loan limits, you know, I'm just thinking about the economic impact. And I think it's, I'll just give you this random example, right? But if you tax endowments in a big way, like Duke's endowment, if you cap loan limits at a fraction of the amount that you could borrow even like 20 years ago, not even adjusting for inflation, and you've already taken back a lot of these NIH grants and such, you're going to see a massive drop off in jobs at institutions, even prestigious ones like a Duke, right? And multiply that by like 100 other universities across actually hundreds of universities across the country. The flush times at universities are over, and so when a lot of these changes occur, what happens to um, businesses like that bar arcade that makes probably a big chunk of its profits from that one big customer, all of the different Duke graduate school programs that rent out that space and order, bar snacks and pizzas and have alcohol tabs and minimums they have to hit. I mean, and then what happens to employment at those places when they have to cut a third of their wait staff, right? So, what happens when you cap all these loan limits at all of these rural and suburban, districts where the university employer, which is super dependent upon Parent Plus loans at this random liberal arts school that's been around for 100 years but doesn't have a big endowment? What happens when you cut, a quarter of their revenues and they can't replace it with wealthy students from, families that are having fewer kids? Right now that you're already under pressure because of demographic trends, right? Because the millennials have already mostly finished college, right? And so you have smaller generations coming behind, but you're also punching these universities in the mouth as hard as you can with all these changes that are happening. And if the loan limit changes pass, it doesn't happen immediately where your loan limits are capped, but it happens very quickly in the next couple years or so where you're not able to get, much borrowing anymore from the federal government, which means that everything is underwritten by private lenders if this happens. And those private lenders are going to have very strict underwriting criteria